This is Betamax. My name's Fidel, and I'm joined as always by Birdie.
What's up?
So this is going to be part 2 to our Powerviolence episode. Hope you guys enjoyed the first episode. We got pretty personal with it. We continue to get pretty personal. Share our stories and stuff like that.
Thanks for sticking around and listening to part 2. And, here it is. Thanks, guys.
Frank from Mayonnaise slicing his hand.
Yeah.
No, dude.
And he was like bleeding everywhere, and he was super drunk.
That was during Hidden Where It Hurts set, right?
I believe so, yeah.
No, it was during Hordes. Because they were fucking up that fucking computer monitor.
Have we told you about this show before?
No.
Okay, so
about it.
during Horde set, someone brought a fucking computer monitor.
It was a CRT.
And like, was it Christian?
It was hysteria, dude.
I think it was Christian had a bat, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, they threw it in the middle of the room while they're playing, and he's beating the shit out of this thing with a bat. So there's like pieces of like plastic
Office Space style.
Yeah, like.
But I think he ended up beating it with his bare hands.
I didn't see that.
Oh my god. Yeah, I don't remember that.
But yeah, like he was like beating the shit out of it.
I remember like watching from outside, like in the window, and then like just hearing the last song. And then like I was going through the doorway and I saw Frank's girlfriend at the time, and I was like, hey, what's going on? She's like, Frank was hiding behind her, and I was like, what's going on with Frank? He's like, oh, he's fucking bleeding, man. He cut himself.
He comes off bad.
Yeah,
it was bad.
I looked at it because he was like, look. And I looked at it and there was blood everywhere. I was like, holy shit. Yeah, we're going to take him to the hospital.
Mia was actually there and she was like trying to stitch it.
Really?
Yeah.
With
what?
Yeah, with what?
needle and thread, I guess. I don't know.
Fucking needle and floss.
Yeah, that show definitely got out of hand. Justin's dad almost got in a fight with someone.
Yeah. I remember you, was it you that was telling me that he was like he choked someone?
Oh, well, okay,
someone was fucking with his backyard decorations or some shit.
Well, okay, because there was this guy in the backyard selling tapes, like his personal tape collection and stuff.
Okay.
And I guess he had like Justin's dad had like Christmas decorations in the backyard, and there was like a fucking deer, like a deer of lights.
Right.
And I believe it was during Hordes that this guy decides to fucking toss it through the window, breaking the screen. He didn't take the screen off. He just tossed it through, broke through the screen, landed in the living room. Justin's dad saw this, and he was a little drunk. Mm-hmm. And he walks out, like rushes outside, grabs him by his shirt and puts him up against the wall, starts yelling in his face. Do you remember this?
What is it?
Where Justin's dad almost fought someone at the house show.
Oh yeah.
And he had him against the wall, and he's like screaming at him, and I don't even remember what he was yelling at him, but Justin was like, "Dad, calm down."
Because he threw that
deer like through the window.
Yeah, like one of those decorative like Christmas deers.
Yeah, but yeah, there's like I just remember the thing like
he thought it was cool because like of all the
mayhem that was going on
because of like Hordes and because I mean we played before Hordes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And like
I believe Hordes played last.
Yeah, they were headlining.
Yeah.
But before them it was Hidden Where It Hurts.
And then before you guys was the Love Below.
Love Below.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to those guys, man. I always loved that band.
I love that band too.
They were like the coolest, weirdest like hardcore band.
Yeah.
That
yeah. I honestly couldn't get into
the
vocals.
Yeah, dude, it was they were I would consider an acquired taste, but I mean I was all
but they were fucking rad, dude.
That's why I asked them to play the show. I mean, I was cool with those guys like Anthony and stuff, like those are good dudes.
Yeah.
And I was a fan of that band. Anyways, I remember we played, and then it was like mayhem, and I mean
your guys' set was wild.
I remember
I had to help hold all your guys' shit up because it was like falling over.
Yeah, because I had like a full stack that day.
Oh, Eddie played that show.
Yeah, that was the night that Eddie played.
Eddie filled in for my brother that day. So it was me, Eddie, and Sergio.
Yeah.
I remember Eddie telling me about how he accidentally fucked up Sergio's camera because he was playing drums, and like Sergio's like school buddy or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Like was there like recording the sets and shit. and he kept getting close to Eddie, and Eddie kept telling him like, dude, you need to back off. I'm not gonna fuck you up, but I play so damn hard, like it's gonna fuck you up if you get close.
Yeah.
Which ended up happening. Like he didn't fuck him up, but he fucked up the camera. And remember, like Sergio found out, and
it was like
got pissed.
Yeah, it was like the boom had gotten broken off.
Yeah.
Cause he used to go to film school, so he would he always had this like camera. I don't know what you'd call those cameras, but it had like a little boom mic connected to it, like the the furry shit.
Yeah.
And that was broken off.
Yeah.
For that, and
Sergio found out. He was pissed.
And I remember he had been really drunk at that show.
He was.
Sergio G was really drunk at that show, and he was extra pissed about that, and kind of lost his mind. And then Jacob, he didn't really know Sergio at the time, and he was getting irritated at that. Jacob.
Lucero.
Lucero, yeah.
Yeah,
from the previous episode.
Yeah.
I remember he wasn't familiar with Sergio like that at the time, and he's like, "What the fuck? Like this dude's like being obnoxious, you know?" And
I wasn't either actually. And I noticed his attitude, and I noticed his behavior, and I was like,
"He's a little bit ignorant."
Yeah, I noticed, and I was like,
but it's because he was pissed.
Yeah,
he was angry.
But I was definitely intimidated.
Oh, he was definitely super pissed.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I don't know if I'll ever be intimidated by that guy.
Well, because I
well, you were so close.
Yeah, and
like
I feel the same way. I don't think I'd ever
like, even though like I know that everybody when they snap, you know, but I wouldn't even consider him snapped at that point. He was just angry and like a little bit turned up, you know. And
that's probably the only time I've ever seen him like mad.
I think that's the only time I've ever seen him angry like that too, or just in general.
Because like every time we hung out, he was always so like, you know, joyous, you know.
Yeah.
Always had a smile. Always trying to party.
Yeah. For those who are listening, we're talking about Sergio Galvin. He used to play in ARM, and my band Hit 'Em or Hurts. You know, no longer with us, so rest in peace, Sergio. We love you,
definitely, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sergio and his family.
Because you still keep in contact with his family.
Yeah, we hang out. Yeah, we hang out. I mean, not as much as I wish we could. Like, I mean, he only has one sister, and I mean, she has her own family, and you know, we get together like during like events, you know, even though we always say, yeah, let's hang out and stuff, you know, and we always try to do it, and something always comes up with some family shit, and it just, I mean, we're busy, so it happens, but yeah, we're pretty close. I mean, we talk a lot, you know. I talk with his parents, and you know, good people, you know. Yeah, like, but I mean, I've always been cool with them. You know, from day one.
Yeah.
His mom used to make us breakfast when we used to play those backyard shows like Shake It Fest and shit in Fontana, and then, you know, get lit and, you know, have hangovers in the morning. And his mom used to make us like huevos rancheros and shit like that, and then we used to watch fucking bootleg Chucky movies. Yeah.
Bootleg Chucky.
Yeah, dude. Like, I remember the first time I saw I think it was like Bride of Chucky or Seed of Chucky, one of those two, and it was like one of those, you know, one of those bootleg.
Yeah,
like,
the ones that suck.
The super skinny like the cases, you know, like it was one of those like
when you could buy from like the lady at the carniceria or
yeah,
some shit.
Dude. Yeah, no, for
says,
real.
It says Shoki.
Shoki.
Yeah, I remember that was the like the only time I seen him like pissed like that. But I mean, rightfully so. I mean, he was going to school for film and stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember him like really and like he loved that camera. Like that was a big deal for him because he was shooting, he was making short films and stuff.
I mean, not only that, because I remember him talking about being so happy that he was going to record the show.
Yeah,
because that was like your guys' comeback. Because you guys hadn't played in a long time.
Yeah, because he was living in Arizona because of school, and you know, we hadn't played in a long time, and you know, we were bummed that Bobby couldn't do it, but he had prior engagements and stuff, and he wanted to commit to that. So I mean, even though with Eddie in the group, I mean, he was cool with Eddie, you know, and you know, it was still a fun time, and he was still on board with it, you know, and it was kind of something like a comeback, I guess you can say. But you know, it was ever since that, and you know, Bobby had, you know, my brother, he didn't have like he was just, you know, busy himself, and then we just didn't get together as much, you know. Sergio out of state, and
I wish I could have seen that guy play drums more than once.
Bobby?
Yeah. Cause
what was the one time he's
ACxDC at the Glass House, which was my first ACxDC show.
Oh, in the band room. That was the second show that we played when we had like when the band came back.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my first ACxDC.
That was the one with Nails and Arm and fucking Zabalba. Like, that was a dope show.
Yeah, that was a dope show. That was
All the homies?
Yeah.
yeah. That was my. That wasn't. I've seen all those bands before, but that was my first time seeing ACxDC. And I remember like that day, that was like the main thing that my homies were trying to get me to go to. They were like, "Dude, we gotta see this band ACxDC," and I was just like, I don't even know who the fuck that is, and that name sounds stupid.
Oh my.
But then but on the way there, they had put the CD in, and I was like, dude, this is the band we used to talk about in high school. I was like, that's ACxDC. Like, yeah. Because I used to call them, I always called you guys ACxDC. For some reason, like, a lot of people like to call you guys ACDC.
That's how I prefer to say it. But, I mean, it doesn't really matter, dude.
Yeah. But that's how I knew you guys, ACxDC. So whenever anyone would say, like, ACDC, I'd be like, man, who the fuck is that? But it would turn me off. But when I would listen to you guys, it'd be like, fuck yeah, I love this shit. But that was my first time seeing you guys.
Really?
Like, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the few shows that my brother played with the band.
Yeah.
That was cool. That's when we wore like those bandanas that we wrote on. That was fun.
Yeah. That was a brutal show, dude.
It was a fun show, man.
Yeah.
But going back to the question you had,
right.
I would say that house show is the only show I've ever been to where I felt like, damn, shit's getting a little too far.
And especially during that time of your life of being young, your threshold for chaos is actually pretty high. So I was definitely really curious as to what show you guys have been to where you're like, oh wait, we gotta scale this back a little bit.
What about you? Because you've probably been to more than I have. So
a show that you felt as though just needed to calm down.
Like every show that Hit 'Em or Hurts played, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, I mean, I didn't feel like any show that I attended was like over the top, like too much, you know. Hit 'Em Where It Hurts was a little bit over the top. I mean,
how so?
Oh man,
I remember when you guys played at the Boulevard with, I believe the band was called Animalitos. They kind of sounded like how fucked up it used to sound.
Yeah.
That's pretty tight name.
But I remember you guys playing at the Boulevard, and Sergio cut his finger while playing, but continued to play.
He got blood all over the place.
Yeah, as he's playing, you just see blood splattering. Like,
sick.
Because he didn't play with the pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember like some of the homies, like they were like putting fucking holes in the walls, and I used to like punch people in the fucking face and throw my guitar around and the microphone stand and it was just too much. Yeah, it was too much. And I mean, we had to tone it down. And like earlier when I was mentioning, like, you know, although as hard as it was to try and change the name of the group, you know, I felt that it was necessary because it got to a point that, you know, where we had friends that were trying to book shows and have us play at venues that heard us or heard of us by name, but like our reputation stood in the way, you know. And it's like, that's weird. I thought that was strange because it's like, who like how do they know? Like, I mean, we're nobody, but they had heard about you know, our reputation of being a little too violent, a little too aggressive.
You literally had to change the name just so then you could have more shows.
So we had more shows, but then when we did that, it didn't happen. And then, like I said, at the same time,
because they would see you guys.
No.
Because they'd be like, "Wait a minute, it's the same guys with a different name."
Wait a minute.
No,
you guys are ignorant. Get out of here.
No, it was a new band. It was a new band. Like it was kind of starting over from square one. And at the same time, like we talked about earlier, it wasn't even something that we could commit to like we did before, because Sergio was going to school in Arizona.
Yeah.
And, my brother was, he had his commitments, and I was the only one that had the time to do it, and, it was just hard, but, at that same time, that's when ACDC was kind of doing their thing, and I was involved in that, and so I just kind of shifted gears, and as one door closed, another door was opened, and,
yeah, definitely.
But I would say that was definitely like the kinds of shows that I felt we had to like dial it down a little bit. Other than that, I mean, I never attended a show seeing other bands where I was just like, this is too much, bands like, I mean, not Powerviolence, but like Ludax, or what's that other group?
Fuck, you know what I just fucking...
You
you know what I just remembered?
What?
This really, this band was sick. Like, the recordings were fucking badass. But every one of their shows would be like hordes types shit.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about Hoax.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was going to be the other group that I named.
Yeah, like, dude, like, I've seen, like, a girl get jumped by a crowd, like, in one of their shows. Like, they got way out of hand.
Such a good band, though.
Yeah, that band is fucking fantastic. But
I never got a chance to see them.
No? Dude,
No.
I always did my best to make sure I saw them whenever they came down here.
They played in Riverside at Division 9.
Yeah, and whenever they came, like, it was like...
I played with that band one time when I filled in for Mark, who ended up actually playing the show, too, after all. At Power of the Riff, I think it was like the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the
That,
Echo, right?
sounds familiar. What
Wasn't
song?
that at the Echo?
Is that the Echoplex?
Oh, that was the one where you played with Hordes.
Where I played with Hordes.
Okay, I remember that show.
And wasn't there like a trash can thrown into the crowd or something?
Oh, that's when.
That's when Jacob threw the trash
that's
can.
when because Jacob was like, hey, he said something along the lines of, I'm gonna throw a trash can, and when I do that, like, I want you to just do whatever the fuck you want. Like, I just want you to do something fucking crazy. And I was like, sure. Because I hadn't done anything like that in a long time, because I was in ACDC, and, it's a different kind of band and stuff. And I was like, all right, dude. So I took it way back, and I remember like chucking my guitar like across the room.
Fuck.
That's why I respect that band so much, because they weren't scared. Like, they were down and like, dude, we're gonna start our set. You're gonna get fucked up.
Yeah, like when
so I suggest you try your best to survive.
Like that time when they played the blow door engine, I think they lit off like a fire extinguisher.
Oh yeah, they got pissed because of that.
That was a big deal.
Yeah,
that was annoying.
I mean, like in reality,
not them, but like
that's
the owners were being fucking annoying that night.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just remember like being like, oh shit, I know that's bad, and I left.
Yeah, I walked out once I saw him start spraying. I was like, nah, I like breathing. I like breathing.
I think I was there and I saw you, like, you rushed.
Yeah, fuck that, dude.
I started laughing because I was like, what?
Yeah,
where the fuck is everyone going?
I did the same thing because, no, dude,
you're in a windowless basement.
Yeah.
That's bad, dude.
I was like, man, I was like, fuck it, I'm down to down, right?
Well, I mean, one of the components to maintaining a fire or creating fire is oxygen, and that's what that's supposed to help, like, kill,
remove the oxygen.
So
from the
room.
So
I mean, I know that, and so I knew that, fuck this. So I left too,
late.
man.
So that was a point where lives were at stake.
Oh yeah,
from rambunctiousness.
But to go back to your question, I still wouldn't consider that enough.
Really?
No, I wouldn't. Because like I said, even though there's bands that were like I said, like Ludax and Hoax and stuff, over the top, where you could call that stuff into question. I mean, it wasn't me. So I was, as a spectator, I was watching, I'd be like, damn, that's fucking crazy. But I never thought to myself like, man, that's too much. Like, it was extreme, but it was when, like I said, I realized that my actions or our actions were causing the reputation for our band to not get the shows that at places that we never played before because they knew of our reputation.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, oh, like we need to tone it down.
Yeah.
Like, us personally as a group, like we need to change that because it's hurting us.
Yeah. Would you ever consider starting another Powerviolence band?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, but I mean, it's hard to find the right people. It's hard to find the right people who, because look, this is the problem, and this, at least in my opinion, I could say, let's start a band, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the people who I say that to take that and they think to themselves, hell yeah, let's do it, But in their minds, they want to go on tour, and they want to, play shows like, on a regular basis. That's not something I can commit to.
Yeah.
Going back to where I'm at in my life, if I'm going to take time away from my career, I'd rather spend that with my family.
Yeah. Definitely.
Like, which is why we go on trips and stuff. I can't take time away from work and time away from my family to go do music at this point like that, and travel. Although I'd love to, but I mean, it's just like my kids need a father, and that's just like
that's your priority.
That's my priority, dude.
Yeah.
And for you, a band would be more so an outlet for you to express yourself creatively.
Yes.
As opposed to just, I want to tour, I want to put out music.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't mind playing shows. I would love to play shows because I miss that. And I don't mind like going out of town here and there. Like a little weekend trip up north, a little weekend trip to like neighboring states.
Yeah.
I don't mind stuff like that because I could pull that off. I can make that happen. But I couldn't commit to like week-long, month-long type tours where we go far. And so the people that I would start this band with would have to be. They'd have to be on board with that, dude. They'd have to. It'd have to be like very low commitment, in order for me to feel, finger quote, committed to that.
Do you feel as though that you've had in your time within the scene, you had the opportunity to fully express yourself the way that you wanted to? Like that you've left the mark that you wanted to on the genre?
Man, that's a loaded question, bro. That's a big question. In a way, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or do you feel like there's still something that you left unsaid?
No, I don't feel that. I feel more like there's still a little bit of gas in the tank, if anything,
right. Right.
Because don't get me wrong, dude. Like you're making it seem like we're not like fucking Foo Fighters, dude.
No.
Like I'm not Dave
Foo
Grohl.
Fighters?
Yeah, I'm not Dave Grohl, dude. Like
No.
It was.
I just mean personally, is there something creatively that you feel as though you didn't get out completely?
Yes, I do feel that I've made something of an impression on the scene.
I wish I could have put out like a record.
In some way. However, I don't feel like there's more to add to that.
Okay.
It's definitely more. I do feel that there's gas in the tank to be a part of it, but I would never consider myself like, important or anything.
Yeah, me neither.
To any stretch of imagination.
Yeah.
And then another question for you: do you feel as though Powerviolence is that vehicle for whatever creative expression you want to do further, or is there other vehicles for that for you?
Like other genres or like other.
Just creatively, is Powerviolence what has gas left in the tank, or is it just any creativity?
Well, for the sake of the conversation, we're talking about Powerviolence.
Right.
I have gas less in the tank, like regardless, and that's like I consider myself musically inclined, musically creative, and I make solo music on the side all the time. I haven't recently, but I have from from ranging from hip hop to like indie to, you know, electronic type stuff. Excuse me. But Powerviolence, like hardcore, you know, that's like punk, like dude, that's always been on the. I mean, it will never stop being on the back of my mind. You know, like I always want to do it, like because I find myself even when I do have a chance, or when I do make the time to like open my computer and at least like plug in my guitar and, you know, have like a drum track running, you know, playing along, like naturally I gravitate towards like a hardcore punk, you know, groove.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I don't think that, you know, I have any more significance to add to anything that's important to like this scene as it stands today.
Got you.
But I do feel like that at least I've left some sort of impression.
Can I ask you guys something?
You're the host, dude. Go for it.
How do you feel about what's going on today in Powerviolence? And I'm talking Southern California.
I personally don't have a good answer for that because I'm so disconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just like I'm because going back to that previous question of any current bands or new bands that you follow, like I wouldn't know who's current now.
Like the only way you would know would be if I literally showed you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I can base my opinion off of that. But then again, I'd have to like go out of my way to go see it and be a part of it, and
Yeah.
to get a proper evaluation.
Yeah.
But then again, like I'm not anybody, you know. I'm not.
What about you, Ryan?
I mean, I'd have to just echo what he said. I'm so disconnected from it. And, you know, when I kind of fell out of it to go, you know, towards other things,
Yeah,
I saw it slowly dying in a way. And I haven't seen it, at least from my perspective, thrive in a way that it did when I was really into it.
Yeah, let me give an example of like the last new group that I can think of or I can remember.
yeah.
Cave State.
Yeah, Cave State.
Cave State was like the last new group, you know, and
That's kind of like where I started falling off too.
yeah, like because my last few shows I've played with those guys, and that's when they were really starting to pick up momentum, and then is when I stepped away from the band that they continued picking up more momentum and being who people know them as today. But that was like the newest group, you know, because there was other groups prior to that were I would consider low key. Like I remember a friend showing me a band called like Book Burner, a band called Noose.
I've heard Noose.
You know, think bands similar to that. You know, even before like bands like Sex Prisoner or Cave State. But I would, like I said, like Cave State was probably the last new band that I remember in that scene. In that genre.
Yeah. What about you, Fidel?
Well, yeah, like Cave State would probably be the last band that I was like legit following.
Because they're new.
Yeah, because like for me, I just kind of started losing interest. Just like Ryan, I found other interests. I was gravitating towards other interests. But not only that, it's just I started noticing like this thing happening at shows that I didn't want to be a part of anymore. It's just it became there's like this I guess you could say elitism.
Yeah,
Like,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it, like there was just people constantly like too cool, I guess. You know, like oh you don't listen to the right Powerviolence bands.
Like would you say pretentious?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was just turning me away from wanting to even go to shows anymore.
I experienced that myself, like when I was like in a band, trying to like put myself out there, like put us out there. Cause I mean, there would be so many people where like, you know, I tried my best to be cool with them, but he'd be like, dude, if you're not my friend, fuck off.
It's the guy that's like
And I
standing against the wall.
Yeah.
Dipped in black, arms crossed.
Yeah.
Too cool for school.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I don't give a fuck if I'm talking shit, but it's like, there'd just be like some venues where it'd be like, we're a safe space, but I mean, if you don't believe in what we believe, then we're gonna fuck you up. And it's like, you just sound like a fucking dumbass, you know? And it's like, I can't not be a part of that, you know? And it's like, it like shit like that ruined the scene for me.
That's just a testament to how important the music is, but also the community around it.
Yeah, but it wasn't just shit like that either. It'd just be like I said before, it'd be like, well, I mean, I don't really know you and you're not cool in my eyes, so I'm not gonna give you the chance. And it'd just be like, all right, dude. I mean,
and also there was also like bands coming out that just sounded like other bands that I had already done it. You know, to me it just seemed like a cut, copy, paste type of thing. And
yeah, because it did get to the point where it was like, and like I'm just gonna say it, you know, this was mostly coming from Orange County, and like it got to the point where it was like an assembly line of like these bands of like who can come up with like the quirkiest name or like the coolest like marketing technique of like having a dead body on your front demo cover or record. Like it got really old really fast.
Do you feel like the genre got to a point where it couldn't progress that much for you?
Yeah, like it almost got to the point where it was like it kept staying in its own adolescent stage.
Yeah.
Like it didn't want to like progress. And it was because these fucking kids got wind of it and they thought, why not? It's easy. It sounds easy. Why don't we try it? And it's just like, you know, it became like a dick measuring contest of like who can be the most ignorant and most offensive and not give as many fucks. And like I said, this was mainly coming out of like OC. I fucking hated it, you know. That shit ruined it for me.
Yeah, I didn't want to be a part of it anymore.
Yeah, and like it got to the point where I was just like, dude, you guys are fucking annoying. I fucking like this shit, you know. And it's like, I mean, you guys don't have to fucking put your input on it. Like, it's fine, but I'm gonna say it because I don't give a fuck, you know. But it's like, I hated that shit.
Right.
It ruined it for me, you know. It's like, I don't give a fuck who you know. I don't give a fuck like what you think you sound like. Like, just be cool, dude. Like, just, I mean, go on stage and lose your shit, but don't fucking like go back on your Facebook page and like talk shit, you know, or fucking like get all ignorant with it. And like,
I definitely think the internet coincided with that time of losing interest. Of
yeah.
How social media became more and more prevalent, and then the scene just started kind of. I just found myself backing away from it.
Yeah, I did too.
Well, that goes to social media in general, you know, just kind of tainting a lot of popular culture, you know, because, I mean, if you look back at, you know, Powerviolence, and it's from its founding fathers, you know, they didn't have social media like that, you know, so it was a little bit more.
You had to make that struggle to get the connection.
I mean, I guess you could say there's more purity in it.
Yeah.
You know, like there was no.
Like it was like you had to know someone's like home address to mail them your demo.
Right, and more so, you were much more isolated, where bands sounded extremely original. Like Illinois didn't sound like Southern California.
Yeah,
and so on and so forth. But now with the internet, where you have access to so many different bands, you're now able to pull from so much that now you're making just a one sound.
You know, but I mean, on the flip side, the internet was a powerful ally for me when it came to like discovering a lot of bands. Like, I mean, have you guys ever heard of a band called Death Is Your Language?
No.
You know, like, I mean, and I hope I'm not butchering that name, but I remember there was a particular website that I used to visit, dude, years ago. Like, I mean, I was still in high school at the time, and it was this site that had a list of groups names that you can click on the name, and it brought you to a separate page, and it had a list of songs that were really good, and I discovered a lot of bands through that, and I got to discover bands like Death Is Your Language, and I remember hearing for the first time, some Drop Dead stuff that I hadn't heard outside of that discography, you know, and it really opened up like this whole it opened up a door to like a plethora of groups that I hadn't heard otherwise, you know, and likewise, like, you know, social media, like, what was the precursor to Facebook? MySpace.
I can't believe you forgot that.
So I was drawing a blank on that. Yeah, no. So I remember it was through MySpace, like hopping from band page to band page, and I found groups like Breathing Fire and Soul Swallower, Fire. You know, and then even searching Blogspots.
Oh man, Blogspots and Mediafire.
Yeah, how they had those like Mediafire links, dude. No, dude, that was some good shit, dude. Like I had downloaded so much, like I had discovered
a lot of the shit I have on my hard drive is from
Blogspots.
Definitely
like,
fucked up a lot of hard drives.
Oh yeah, I've given my computer AIDS through Blogspots.
I'm not even mad about that, dude. I mean, like, no, like, cause like, man, I flooded my iPod with some of that shit, dude. With a lot of that shit, man. Yeah. You know, I discovered a lot of really good bands through that. Like, I mean, that's how I found out about Mind Eraser, you know. And you know, man, and then discovering through the internet like the connections that some of those bands have with other groups that I also liked, not knowing that they had a connection because of similar members. So like X-Files X had shared members with
that band
with
has branched off to so many bands.
Yeah, dude, like, you know...
even bands that aren't even Powerviolence.
Yeah, like, have you... Like, I mean, I like, although they're not Powerviolence per se or whatever, you know, there's a band called Find 'Em and Kill 'Em. I don't know if you guys ever heard about that. No, dude, that was a great band. You know, I used to love that band. I mean, if I heard them today, I would be, oh, fuck yeah, dude. Like, I haven't heard this in so long. You know, like Threatener. Have you guys heard... ever heard
I love Threatener.
Threatener's fucking crazy, dude. That's a crazy ass band, dude.
I think I actually got 2 7-inches of theirs from you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude, you guys are throwing so many names out there. I don't know what the fuck.
For real?
Yeah.
Dude, these are a lot of groups. Like, dude, Threatener was like a group that you can find connected through 625.
Huh.
Dude, I miss those times of just going down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, you used to be able to find Threatener t-shirts through badskulls.com.
Oh, badskulls.com.
I still have Locust shirts
I don't even know who that
from
is.
that page.
You don't know about...
No.
Dude. That I got my first Charles Bronson t-shirt. Dude. Oh my god. Completely forgot about badskulls.com.
Dude, that was...
I never got anything off of there, but I used to browse that shit all the time.
That's how I found out about a good look back and laugh, dude.
Oh, that's another good band.
Man, that fucking band is so sick. Hey, real quick though, I really want to give a shout out to LA Powerviolence, which to me was like the strongest, most hard hitting shit I ever listened to, and I'm talking about bands like Bastard Ass, Max Word. Yeah, the Scrotums, like
Final Draft,
Final
fucking draft, dude.
You know, like, dude, if it wasn't for the LA Powerviolence scene, like, I wouldn't know what it meant to get your ass kicked through your fucking ears. Yeah,
dude, that Final Draft 7-inch, it's a beast. Have you ever heard
the self-titled one?
Oh,
the self-titled one?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
I don't.
What did you say? That the band themselves describe their sound as?
No. I was about to say that. It was on their MySpace page.
Yeah.
Because there was a point in time where MySpace, for when you had a band, they had a little section. Sounds like,
Yeah.
So under there, sounds like it used to say a broken elevator with people in it after they released that album. And as ridiculous as that may sound, like,
it's pretty on point, dude.
It kind of makes sense to me, dude.
Like, this shit is so fast and like agonizing.
It's painful.
Fucking gnarly, dude.
I love it.
Yeah, and
I recently just bought the splits they did, like the one with Arm and the one with Apathetic Youth.
Mm-hmm.
I just recently bought those.
Those are good. Those
Yeah.
are all good. I mean, Final Draft doesn't disappoint, dude.
I just need their LP. I don't have their LP yet.
Oh, dude. There's this band there's two bands that when I made that band that we talked about earlier, the one that I was in, Balmy Bastard.
Mm-hmm.
There's two bands in particular that really influenced that band.
Let me guess. Can I take a guess?
I guess.
Magruder Grind?
Yes.
In Disgust.
Yes, dude.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
In
but
Disgust.
there's a third
Magruder
band.
Grind, though.
There's a third band.
Oh, so there's a third band
Yeah,
now.
there's a third band. That band was Bastard Ass.
Okay.
That was the reason why we wanted to incorporate Bastard in our name. Because we were fucking like, we were Bastard Ass dick riders, dude. Like, we, like, dude, we kept track of them and like we listened to all their shit. Even that EP they put out on YouTube with like the drummer's baby picture on the cover. Yeah, like, dude, that fucking EP is brutal. Like, the lyrics like were fucking nasty, brutal, dude.
Caught slipping, dude.
Yeah, dude. It's like High at a Funeral. Did you guys ever listen to that song? Dude, that song was funny. Like, tell them my eyes are red because I've been crying. But it was because he was fucking high. But dude, like, those three bands, Magruder Grind, In Disgust, and Bastard Ass, like, they cultivated our energy, like our lyricism and the way we structured like everything up to our name, like In Disgust. Dude, shout out In Disgust, dude. San Jose Grind Violence.
Shit's so good.
One of the nastiest bands that I ever had the privilege to see and listen
Nastiest?
to. Dude, they fucking rocked my world, dude. It was fucking gnarly.
Uzi Suicide, dude.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Dude, yes.
Are you familiar with it?
No.
No? You never got to listen to In Disgust?
No, dude.
Dude,
No,
oh my,
my
dude.
goodness.
After
that was
we're
a
done
blind
here,
spot,
dude, we're
apparently.
gonna listen to them.
We gotta show you
But-
In Disgust, Final Draft.
For sure.
Dude, but that fucking band, like, oh god. So what's that fucking song? Vas a ver?
Oh yeah.
Dude, that whole the way they structure that song is like, it's like listening to someone get their ass kicked to death. Like, it's fucking brutal, dude. But yeah, shout out to that. Shout out to those bands. In Disgust from San Jose, LA Powerviolence, because I respect that shit so much that they set the bar to the point where it was like, I hope I can someday achieve setting it higher. But obviously I didn't.
All right, so winding down now, getting to the end of this episode. I want to ask you guys, what are some of your favorite releases within Powerviolence? Jose?
Oh, I'm first.
Yeah.
I got a couple more questions too, actually.
You have a couple more questions?
Yeah, but go ahead and answer.
Oh, no, okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'd rather do the questions first because I'd like to. I'd like to.
Sit on it a little bit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, then what do you got?
If it wasn't for finding out what PV was, how would you think your life would have came out?
Oh, very different. I would think-
Definitely, yeah.
I personally think that everything happens for a reason. So
Yeah.
I mean, dude. I mean, I met a lot of people. I met you.
Yeah.
I met a lot of people, dude, that I would consider good friends of mine. And I wouldn't have known those people. Those guys would be weird strangers to me had it not been for that.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm grateful for those things, dude. You know, I have a lot of gratitude for stumbling into this type of stuff, because without it, I don't think I would be the person I am today. You know, it's weird. I mean, I wouldn't consider like, oh, power violence being a major part of my life, but you know, because it's just a silly name for some hardcore shit that was played a little bit different than, you know, your cookie cutter hardcore stuff, you know. But you know, I would definitely contribute it. I would definitely, you know, I blame power violence for being such a big part of my existence, to the point in which, you know, I learned a lot about different bands that I appreciate, that I love now, you know, and people that I've made connections with now, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I still to this day consider ACDC a power violence band, even though they've, you know, progressed in sound and moved on to, you know, exploring that sound. I still consider it part of that, and you know, I had a good time doing all that, and I had a good time with the people that I've met through that, and I still like consider myself friends with those people, and so it wouldn't be the same without stumbling onto that shit. Plus, I had a hell of a time discovering that music, man. Like when I was online, just like fucking rolling through blogspot.coms and that link I was talking to you guys about earlier that I could not repeat to you for the life of me. It probably doesn't exist anymore because it was years ago. I mean, I had so much fun just learning so much about new bands that sounded like the bands that I already liked, and grew my arsenal, so to speak. You know?
Yeah. I feel you. Ryan.
I think for me, and again, it's not necessarily that power violence did this for me, but just the community itself, it broadened my worldview of being exposed to ideas that I never had even considered before, even being challenged by other people, by what I believe politically, socially, you know, and even more so, it taught me that it's important to be authentically yourself at all times, because within that scene, if you're not authentic, then get out. You know what I mean? So for me, that's what it really gave me, of just opening up those connections to other people and experiencing a totally different world. And then more so, it was important to, it's a real, for me, it was the time at which it came into my life. That's like when you're going into becoming a teenager, and those are such formidable years. And those are, you know, memories I'm going to hold on to forever.
And I mean, to add to that, like, I'm just thinking about, like, I've always considered punk rock being a, because, you know, you hear about, like, rock and roll. You know, you hear about bands like the Beatles and so on, what have you. There's so many to name that are popular groups throughout the years, you know, 60s, 70s, so on. I've always considered punk rock as a contributor to that. Like punk rock is on the map in my opinion. You know, like the Buzzcocks, you know, the Ramones. Like those are up there to me, as influential and as important of an entity as bands like the Beatles and bands like Metallica. You know, hardcore, power violence are all subgenres that have stemmed from punk rock. So it just adds to that family tree. So it just makes it so much more rich to me. So like, even though power violence is like kind of like this weird kind of controversial made up type bullshit name for which is essentially hardcore, which is essentially punk. Like,
Yeah.
regardless, like it adds to the richness of that.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel bad for those who don't even give punk rock the time of day because of like this moniker that it comes with. You know, this idea that it comes with. It's rebellious and all that stuff. Even though I mean it is, but I mean it's very counterculture. But like it's like nah, dude, like that's good fucking music.
Yeah,
like that's I mean. To me, the Damned is no different from the bands like the fucking Kinks and shit. You know, like it's no different. You know, and bands throughout hardcore and power violence and what have you, grind violence and shit. Like that's all, you know, interwoven to me. You know, and it just adds to that richness.
I don't think I would have been nearly as open minded as I am today if it weren't for being exposed to that. Because not only musically but aesthetically of, you know, what these bands were creating as far as the album art, and you guys could definitely talk about this, of the records themselves, of what they physically made.
Yeah,
like aesthetically such a strong imagery that they used, and it was all DIY.
Yeah, I mean, like you can like okay, let's take that as an example. You know, you can take bands like the Beatles, who are respected as like one of the greatest bands that ever existed, you know, but they never did fucking records like The Locust, you know, which is, you know, dude, people argue all the time on how good that band is. You know, some people hate them, some people love them, but I mean, they were doing things like making splatter print shaped like records and
the puzzles.
Yeah,
right.
and there's record collectors out there who collect, you know, punk records that are, you know, they know like, you know, the counts of how many was made and test presses are a big deal and first really original presses like second presses and
that's
so on.
That's what attracted to me.
Like to the best of my knowledge, like no one does that for bands that are, you know, regarded as the greatest bands in the world.
Yeah.
You know, like so there's a little bit of depth to all of that, you know. It's hard to not acknowledge, you know, punk hardcore power violence as being legitimate as in the same conversation as, you know, the rest of music in general.
I mean, just as a form of art.
Yeah,
I mean, with those records of creating something that no one's ever seen before. I remember Voorhees, which is like a UK band. Their whole theme was, you know, Jason Voorhees, and it was a clear record with blood splatter. And I had never seen anything like that prior.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You know, bands like Fisher, that's a hardworking band, dude. That's a hardworking band. And I don't feel like they work any less harder than any of the, you know, household name type bands that have existed throughout time.
Well, I mean, look at Iron Lung. They have a release, Savagery. I'm not sure how many pressings there or how many like records they pressed for that release, but each cover is completely different.
Right.
For each release, so like they do like the whole specialty cover. But going to the question of like, do I think it would be different if I never got into it? Then I believe definitely for me especially because not only just power violence but like just hardcore in general. Because for me, it was like an escape for me because I had a pretty rough home life, so listening to that type of music and going to shows was a way for me to be away from home, which was always like I'd either be at shows or hanging out with friends, and just that whole community of people just, I guess, helped me from not being involved in what was going on at home. And because I know if I was just immersed in that, I probably would have ended up completely different.
Yeah, because I mean, you hear a lot of those groups that, you know, we all know and love that write songs when you hear a lyric and you're like, fuck, like that resonates with me and what I'm thinking at the very least, you know, whether it be political, you know, what have you, you know, like you can, there's a lot to identify with.
Yeah.
It could be a soundtrack to what it is that you're feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Bertie?
Oh man, obviously. I mean, I wouldn't be where I am today without it.
Like I said, we probably wouldn't be close friends like that.
Yeah, I mean,
What was your second question, by the way?
how your passion, I'm talking to all you, how your passion for this genre affected your family members, especially your mothers.
Oh, interesting. That's an interesting question.
because you know what? Shout out to our moms for like
Putting up
with this shit, dude. Like letting us bump it in our room all loud, like them thinking like we're listening to some fucking suicidal, satanic shit, like letting us run amok at night, like yelling our lungs out. Like,
I would like to answer this first.
go ahead.
My parents are very supportive of all of the above. They were so supportive, dude. They let me be me, and I've that was always something that I really loved, and not just my mom, but shout out to my dad. Shout out to dads too, because every time I went out on tour,
Yeah.
my dad always took a moment to pull me aside and look me in the face and say, "Remember, this isn't vacation. This is work." My dad wasn't down with that shit. My dad wasn't down with like he doesn't know. Like he's just not familiar. Like he's old school Mexican from LA, dude. Like, but he understood my passion for it and my love for it, and he supported every bit of it. And he every single time, no matter where I was going, whether it was when we flew out to Miami or we went to the East Coast or what have you, every time I went away and I went on tour and I packed my bags and I was going to be gone for a while, he'd always told me, "Remember, this is not vacation. This is work. I want you to kill it."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so shout out to my dad for that, you know, because even to this day, you know, from all the jobs that I've had since then in my career, you know, that's resonated. You know, it's not vacation. It's work. I work my ass off no matter what I'm doing. You know, so my parents are very supportive. You know,
Yeah.
my mom obviously is my mom, and she just supports and loves everything that I do. You know, my dad was the tricky one, but he was particularly supportive, which was kind of odd, but was.
Glad to hear that.
What about you, Ryan?
I mean, shout out to my mom for sure. You know, because kids coming in wearing, you know, Powerviolence t-shirts.
Yeah, nothing
with,
but black.
You know, black, like Xerox of a Xerox of a Xerox printed t-shirt. I mean, come on. Like, she was very supportive of understanding that I'm going to be who it is that I'm ultimately going to be in life.
Yeah.
And that what I'm interested in now is all right. Like, that's just me on that journey.
Yeah.
So definitely shout out to her for everything.
So I guess I have to be the bummer of this one.
Oh, man.
I just want to preface it by saying, like, I love my parents. I love the relationship we have now.
Yeah, of course.
But as far as, like, at that time, for me, I got the impression, like, they didn't give a shit what I was doing. Like, I just did whatever the hell I wanted, you know. Like I said, you know, I would go to shows, like, leave. They didn't know where I was going. I never, like, talked to them in that way. Like,
You never asked permission.
no, yeah. I
You
never asked for
You came and went as you pleased.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why that music was such a sanctuary for you.
Yeah, and, like, it's because, like, they were dealing with their shit, you know. They were in their own world. And, I mean, it's a bummer to say, but, like, that's how I felt at that time. Like, they didn't care what I was doing, so I just did whatever I wanted. So, I never really got that, I guess, support from them as far as, like, what I was listening to or, like, what I was consuming. Like, they never really kept track of any of that shit.
I do what I want.
Pretty much. But, I mean, now, like, I have a great relationship with both of them.
So at this point, you would say no matter what the fuck you're listening to, they're just like, right on, dude.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But shout out for PV being there.
Yeah, and it's funny because like, I've been going with my dad to like side jobs on the weekends recently, and just recently he asked me, he's like, hey, like, do you still listen to Korn? And like that's the last band he remembers me listening to, and I was like in 6th grade.
Oh,
So
You're like, dog.
yeah,
like, come on.
yeah. So yeah, I had to be the bummer of that one. Sorry for that.
It's okay, I guess.
I respect that. It's been real.
Yeah. I was contemplating answering. I was actually initially just going to pass on it. But I was like, nah, I'm going to just say it.
Well, I mean, because I think people who went to those shows probably experienced the same thing that you did.
Yeah,
Experienced the same thing that
you're
we did.
definitely not the only person.
No, I know. That's why I eventually decided just to fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other questions, dude?
No, but
Anything you want to touch on?
yeah. Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to everyone who organized everything back in the day.
Oh yeah.
You know, everyone who put in, you know, all the hard work to get all these bands from all over the place. And I'm not talking just Southern California. I mean, I was able to see bands from like Sweden and fucking Africa and LA thanks to people who would fucking like drain their bank accounts into buying their flight tickets.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, so shout out to those guys. Like, I met a couple of you, might not remember me, but I saw the struggle and I appreciate what you brought to the experience of what it was like to drive an hour away to go see a band that flew 12 hours, you know? So, I mean, this subgenre of music was a very powerful entity in the four of us, you know? So, you know, it might be a silly thing to take so serious, you know, like the way we are right now, which is, I mean, in a way true, but we wouldn't have the relationships that we do if it wasn't for this silly thing.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know?
I don't take it too seriously, but I just, I mean, I do appreciate it being playing a part into like
Yeah.
what brings people together, like
Yeah.
especially right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, I appreciate you guys giving us the time to come speak to us about this, and I appreciate everyone listening to this. You know, if you got offended by any of it, my bad. You know? But I mean, we're glad you guys are listening, and just want to let you guys know before we end this that this was a episode that me and Fidel were very excited about
Yeah, definitely.
to record with two of our closest friends on this planet. You know?
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
No, for sure, man. Like, I mean, I was nervous. If I'm not,
Yeah.
I was nervous, dude.
yeah, you know, like this is my first time doing like a pod. I mean, I've been in the studio before, but I mean, this is like a podcast, and like we hang out all the time, and this is
Yeah.
different, a different way to do it. It's funny, but yeah, I was a little bit nervous, but dude, I mean, I respect your guys' hard work. You know, I'm a big supporter of what you guys do, and
I want to especially
I
thank you though, because it's because of you that we started doing this. You're the one that ingrained the idea in us. So
I mean, I saw it being a thing worth listening to. You know, watching you guys have your conversations and stuff. You know, but I mean, I just threw the idea out there. You guys are the creative genius behind it. You know, I mean, I have nothing to do with all the hard work you put in. I have nothing to do with that. You know, at all. You know, so I just planted the seed, so to speak, and man, you watered the shit out of that and gave it the sun that it needs and
steroids.
Yeah, whatever. You know. Steroids? Oh, don't tell Vince McMahon.
All right. So with that being said, favorite releases.
Favorite releases.
Could be old, new, whatever.
Yeah. Something.
Something you constantly revisit and just.
Something that you would consider like a favorite or a landmark. in this.
Oh, like like you consider it benchmark?
Yeah.
Oh, No Man's Slave, dude. That's fucking benchmark, hands down. But like that's to me that's comparing best to favorite. Favorites are more like for me.
Like which ones mean the most to you? Like which ones do you enjoy the most?
Like the ones I listen to and I get joy from it because it just invokes so many like fond memories of listening to it in the past. Dude, that Charles Bronson discography, dude.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Everything from Spaz, you know, especially Crush Kill Destroy, you know, the entire catalog from Iron Lung and and Mind Eraser, you know. But dude, Trapped Inside, Lack of Interest, bro. That shit is a fucking heater, dude. And anybody who sleeps on that is straight up tripping. Dude, I can go on and on. Dude. Like Drop Dead, like you know.
How has no one mentioned Scapegoat?
Fuck.
Scapegoat is fucking awesome, dude. You know, I mean, Crossed Out, like, dude, I'm telling you, we can go on and on with like how so nostalgic, many. Like, and how much like these albums and these groups mean to me. You know, yeah, dude. You know, I mean, very argumentatively.
Oh yeah.
But New Erections from the Locust, man.
Yes. Thank you so much for saying
Holy
that. Holy
shit, man.
Yeah. Fuck.
Holy shit, dude.
That shit made my ears bleed.
Holy shit. Sergio G referred to that to me one time. We ate an edible. When I was on tour, we visited him, and I ate an edible for the first time. And I rode with him to a location that we're all going to meet up at. And we listened to that album from front to back, and it was the first time I heard it, and I was fucking faded, dude. Like, it's not even funny. And I looked at him, and I was like, holy shit. And he was like, yeah. It's like music that Beethoven wrote while he was high on heroin in space.
That's fucking true, dude.
And I was like, dude, that's word, dude. Yeah, but I mean, I can, like I said, I can go on and on about like my favorite releases. But I mean, if I'm being honest, dude, like whenever I chime back in, it's always Spaz. I mean, I have a Spaz tattoo, you know, Spaz, Charles Bronson, Mind Eraser, Iron Lung. Like those are my heaviest of hitters for me.
What about you, Ryan?
Oh, for sure, it's Charles Bronson. That's the number one. And I remember just being in high school and just like telling my friend Chris, like, hey, come over here. And I had my iPod, and we both had one in each ear. We were just listening to it. And he was just like, dude, what is this? And I was just like, this is Charles Bronson, man. I'm like, this is Charles Bronson.
Like the guy that did Western movies?
Actor? And from then on, like, that's it. That's what brings me back to my youth.
Yeah.
When I hear those samples in Charles Bronson, I'm back in high school.
What about you, Brady?
Youth Attack, man.
Just any Youth Attack release?
Yeah. Well, Charles Bronson mostly, but I mean, that was the can of worms. Charles Bronson.
Yeah.
Forever. Yeah. What about you?
For me, is like Jose. There's just so many to name, but like the specific ones I want to drop are Spaz's La Revancha, just because that was the first one for me. Like that brought me in. Iron Lung and Hatred Surge collaboration, 7-inch. I fucking love that release. That shit is so good to me. Like I listen to that shit all the time.
That is a great record.
Hatred Surge Isolation is another good one. And the last one I want to mention is Mind Eraser's Glacial Rain. Those releases, like, I just are, in my opinion, like the best shit.
Can I say what my favorite one to listen to right now is?
What?
The latest release from Sex Prisoner.
Oh, Tannhauser Gate?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, so good.
Fuck,
Sex
dude.
Prisoner is
So
definitely
good.
one of my
I
favorite
didn't
bands of all
even
time.
fucking... Oh, dude.
Shout out.
Shout out
Prisoner.
Sex Prisoner, dude.
Those,
Like,
are, those are
they're
my boys, dude.
Yeah.
I love those guys. and
Amazing
that's
live.
a great band.
Amazing.
But I will say, I mean, not this is, and I'm not trying to mean this in like a tooting my horn kind of way, but you know, ACDC was my favorite band, still is one of my favorite bands of all time, and I loved being a part of that group. But the ACDC Fiction Monger, meaning that's my baby, dude, and that's my favorite song, dude. That is my favorite song of all time. I mean, I know that I was one of the ones that wrote it, and I'm not putting it in that. I don't know. I'm not trying to toot my own horn.
Yeah.
I'm really not. It's just, man, that was the song that I always wanted to hear, if that makes sense. You know,
Yeah, and I know what you mean.
I listen to that song a lot, and I'm just like, man, like, I'm so glad that this song exists, and even if it was not me that wrote it, and somebody else, and it wasn't even the band that I was in that wrote that song, like, I would still love that song as my favorite song, dude. That shit is a good song, you know. And little factoid is that's the song that me and Sergio G wrote.
Yeah.
For Hit 'Em or Hurts originally.
I remember.
That I ended up using for.
I think I actually still have
ACDC.
that recording on my laptop.
Yeah, but we won't share that.
No, I know.
Because it sounds significantly better.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
The ACDC record. It's not. It's cool. The other way, but it's. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, thank you guys for taking the time out of your very busy lives.
Thank you, Jose, for letting us use your garage.
Yeah,
Dude. Man, I was
appreciate this, and then anyone listening to this, thank you, and everyone involved in whatever we talked about, thank you. And this is obviously going to be a two-parter.
Yeah, it's a pretty long one, so we'll split it.
So if you stuck around this long, we really appreciate it. And
We digress a lot.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I just want to add, don't forget, like and subscribe. Follow us on all social media platforms at
Everything.
Betamax.
Yeah, Spotify.
Do you guys want to plug anything?
Do I want to plug anything?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I'm not working on much, dude. Yeah. No, I mean, just. Man, I'd rather just plug you guys, man.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
Yeah, dude.
Stop.
Tell a friend.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Listen to the Betamax podcast.
Yeah, I mean, this podcast is new, and it's very rich, and it's picking up some serious momentum. And these guys are very passionate. They work very hard. So if you've listened to this episode or previous episodes, please like and subscribe, and continue to listen, because this is just the beginning.
Yeah, definitely.
I have such high hopes for you guys, man. Like, you guys are
Thank you.
You guys are like the Willy Wonka, dude.
Hell yeah.
Of this podcast, you know. And I feel like Charlie Bucket right now. You know.
Thank you though.
All right, well, yeah. Thanks for listening.
So this is Betamax, and we'll see you guys next time.